modernization attempts. French connection, it's very crucial to understand these times. Comédie, Larmoyante, I don't know if you know this. This is called in English Tearful comedy. It was something that was introduced in France and very, very early it was transported to Poland. Polish people at this time were totally fascinated by French culture, especially king and the court. The French artists would be performing at the theater, and so tearful drama and bourgeois drama exported by French people to Poland became leading theatrical aesthetics. 20 regular French language theater companies operated at the time beyond France, promoting the République des Lettres, a transnational community of scholars and writers. Giovanni Francesco Albani organized the first independent French theatrical company in Warsaw in 1762. After a year, it went bankrupt. They performed Marivaux, Diderot, all these new French poets of theater, and Marivaux, especially Diderot, they would not only write plays, they would also write treatises on the new theater. And this is the time when this idea of neoclassical theater is born. They are, of course, constructing their own image very much idealized of the ancient culture. And they introduce these famous unities of action, of time, of place, which I am arguing in these ancient Greek theater classes was not really true. It has nothing to do with ancient theater. This is their vision of ideal theatrical piece. And so, next, the National Theatre's full performance, Bielawski's Intruders in 1765, imitated, for example, Molière. Nivella de la Chaussée, Mélanide, such a play, this comedy, this is kind of exemplary comédie larmoyante, this tearful comedy. As you can see, the premiere, the first production in Paris was only a few later reproduced in Warsaw. First in French, next in Polish. Another very popular at the time piece by Louis-Sébastien Mercier, Général, was in Paris, and a few years later in Polish. And another, his play, L'Indigent, was in Paris, and a few years later, 4 years later, in Polish. So this was very, very fast transposed. This French neoclassic plays, especially the tearful dramas, they represented very, very fast in Poland. Pierre-Auguste Caron, Beaumarchais, one probably the most famous at the time of these French writers. Two of his, even today, very popular plays, La Barbière de Séville et La Fausse Journée or the Mariage de Figaro, very, very early were presented in Poland. Of course, there was later the fascination with Racine. Racine was also translated into Polish and presented. So this French connection was extremely important. And if you remember, when I was introducing this Polish theater class, I was recalling the situation from this parliamentary meeting when Polish nobles attacked the actors, the French actors who would perform the captivation of the German emperor. And next part of the French connection in details, the first French troupe at King Poniatowski, this is the last Polish king, in his royal theater, was a company created by Louis-François de Villers, a French actor from Vienne court. It's very interesting that many French influences came to Poland, especially with actors from Austria. Austria was this transmitting place for French culture to Poland, just like this guy here. Yet the quality of their acting disappointed the king, and the contract was terminated after a few months. After Francis I, Holy Roman Emperor and Duke of Lorraine's death in 1765, this is the year of the establishment of the public theater in Poland, more French actors came from Vienna. So even if Polish National Theatre would be established in Warsaw, still there is this streaming of French artists and amazing popularity of French performances. In 1776, National Theatre joined Hammond's troupe after touring Austria and Northern Germany. Again, Hammond's was the typical French company, and they came from Austria actually. The French were performing twice a week at Poniatowski Theatre, and even we have journal, French language Journal Littéraire de Varsovie, regularly published reviews of the French premieres. So there was not only popular entertainment, but also promotion of this entertainment. There was special, and of course, many educated people, they spoke French. At the time when the school system was also reformed, the foreign languages, first of course Latin, but next French and German were introduced, and many educated people could actually speak all these European languages. And I could say this first mass theater movement is paradoxically connected to this religious school system, especially because of the Jesuits. But these three orders, Jesuits, Piarists, and Theatines, there were three different Catholic orders who actually based their education on introducing theater performances. Not often, but at least sometimes, and at least obligatory. So there were these schools with something like we call them boarding schools, with a lot of young Poles, of course male. These were boys' boarding schools, who were actually requiring theater production from these boys.